Welcome to Wizard Owl Arms. I'm Noah, and I'm back today with a Turknelli shotgun. Now, this one in particular is a Pointer FT4. These things usually range for, just under 400 bucks. So they're not the lowest of the low of the Turkish Benelli M4 clones, but they're also not the most expensive either. Anyway, why do I have this today? Well, it's because it's got a failure to feed problem. And I'm here to show y'all how to disassemble, take care of it. So we're going to start just to make sure it's empty. Release. And nothing's in there. Alright, now I already know there's nothing in the tube. So we're going to start the disassembly by taking this off. It just unscrews real simple. Set that off the side. Fore end just slides right off. Set it off. Alright, going to take this screw out. It's going to relieve some pressure on the recoil spring right there. So you got to be careful and make sure it doesn't just launch out. As you can see, the barrel is starting to come out, and that's because of the way the gas assembly is. It's made where it will slide. So you see how the barrel's already decided to slide out, and there it goes. Take it completely out. Set that completely off to the side. Now that we have this out, you'll notice that you have your recoil assembly, and the only thing holding it in is the bolt charging handle right there. So the simple way of dealing with this, they tell you that you can pull it back and hold it by the assembly and that you can just wiggle it out. I've found that's kind of a pain in the rear. So something that you can do, since you have to line up that charging handle with the spot, there it is, the little dimple right there, you gotta line that up. And to do that easily, I'm just going to use just a little tiny punch, get it lined up about right there, and stick it in. And what you're sticking it in between is the guide right here and the carrier itself. So there is actually a little divot. There's actually a little divot right behind the charging handle that you can take just a little screwdriver and gently pop it out. It's held in by a ball to tin. So there you go. Now, before we release that pin, or this, need to release the pressure and gently let it slide fully out. Take the spring off with it. Okay. So you don't actually have to remove this little piece or your magazine tube, because that's not what we're here for. You're going to want a punch pin block. Set it right there, and get your punch that is less than 1/8 inch in diameter. There's a singular pin right here that holds your trigger assembly in place. And that's what we need to get to, because the elevator is not doing its job of going fully down when it's time to load in the next shell. So we're going to line this up and just give it a couple of real easy taps. You can actually knock this pin out either way and it'll go completely through. Take your pin, set it off to the side. Now, getting this assembly is real simple. You have to come forward with it right here because this is actually, there's a divot on the inside of the stock right there to kind of help hold it in place. So you pull it forward and lift it straight out. Now, this is the most you're really going to need to disassemble this thing. Alright, and now that we've got the trigger assembly with the elevator assembly out, if you pull back right here, you'll see that that's how the elevator actually lifts up. And when it comes back down, it goes this far. If you look really, really close, you'll notice that there is a very small gap in between the elevator and the body of the trigger housing, and it should be coming down further. Now what's stopping it is on this side, you'll see this lever arm right here that's attached to the elevator, this latch right there, that's grabbing hold of it and that's preventing it from doing its job. So to rectify this, what I've done has been to, you'll see this pin right here that holds the elevator assembly in place. If you push it right here, it only goes one way. So you'll want to make sure you keep your hand completely over the assembly because it is spring loaded. It doesn't take much to get it to pull completely out. There we go. Got it out. Looks kind of like a wishbone, except with a flared end. There we go. So you're going to gently remove the elevator because, like I said, it is spring loaded, and that's done on purpose because that's what allows this thing to rock down. Set that down. Here is the component that has the problem. Now, sometimes it'll simply get just jiggled out of place. There's not really anything to hold this piece in. So you have to get it to seat in there properly. And you'll see how that is. There's a detent down here and a spring in here. This little nub on the end of the piece has to go in where that spring is. And the reason for all of this is actually to act as a safety mechanism to prevent it from double feed and things like that. So with that put back into place, you can take your elevator assembly and slide it back in where it's supposed to go. Yeah, it may be easier for some to line this up using a pin from the other side. Also, the elevator assembly is a bit of a tight fit going in here. And like that. So what you'll notice is the lever right here is no longer being trapped below that right there. So when you pull this down, it comes all the way up and it comes back down. And sometimes it'll get caught like that. That's fine. It just needs to work itself out into the right spot. And you'll notice it's a little bit flatter right there versus that's how it is whenever it's getting caught. So you can tell it's getting caught because this is not flat and this part drooping actually down. That's how it's supposed to be. So now that we know that, and now that we've got that in place, we can begin the reassembly process. You slide your trigger housing back inside and re-slide that back into place. Now, how you know you've got it slid in properly is you shouldn't have to fight to get your pin back in. If you have to fight to get your pin back in, then you've screwed up somewhere. But I've got mine in place where I need it. Again, doesn't matter which way you knock the pin in or out, but it should start right in pretty easily. Now, you may not be able to push it in all the way like that, but good for you if you can. Alright, so now that we've got that back, we can begin the reassembly right here. And what I've found easiest to do is, because of the way the bolt, if it just even slightly comes back, the block right there will come up and lock it. And you don't want that. You need to have it down in order for the barrel to go where it needs to go. So, the simplest thing that I've found is to just line it up and then line it up with the frame and jimmy it back. And now that you've got it back, I'd go ahead and put the first ring back on. And the reason for that is so that you ain't got to hold the barrel all day in place while you go to put your charging cable back. You can just do that. Doesn't take much. You ain't got to try super hard to get it knocked back in. Once you get it lined up, there you go. Just a little bit of force. She locks right back in. And you know it's locked back in because that notch that we used to get it out is now back even with the bolt. So now that we've done that, take your forend, slide it back on. Take the cap, re-screw it back on. And your shotgun's back assembled. So what I'm going to do is let you look at it while I run it. So you notice that it didn't pop back up right there, and that's for a couple of reasons. One, it's unloaded. So because it's unloaded, it's not going to do what it needs to. In order to let the bolt release, you use the button on the side. You gotta, there we go. You gotta slip the bolt release back into place. There we go. And this little button right there, it swivels back and forth alongside the trigger housing. That was what it was that was causing this to not be down the way it should. So pull the bolt back. Like I said, it's not going down. Bolt release. It did go down. That's what prevents it from loading the next round. And I have the safety off. I want you to watch the elevator. See how it popped back down like it's supposed to? That's how you know you did it right. Alright, let's lock back again. It'll unlock as soon as you start putting shells through it. And it's not flush anymore. See? And it's releasing like it's supposed to. So there you have it. That's how you fix a failure feed on a Turknelli. Well, I hope that's been informative and helpful for you guys. Have a good day, and I'll see you in the next video.